Hey guys, welcome to a new video. Like, comment and subscribe if you enjoy. Without any further interruptions, enjoy the What If. Chapter 11. Memoir of a Madman. Between the years of Konoha's foundation and Naruto's birth, Madara feels his age when his Sharingan sees graying strands over his right eye. After a failed attempt to convince the Uchiha to abandon Konoha, he explodes in fury. Open your eyes. Madara thunders to the Uchiha, and he sees them flinch at his chakra cracking the floor of the shrine. His Sharingan whirls into its Mangekyu pattern in response to his hatred. I have witnessed the absolute tyranny that the Senju will impose on you, if you refuse to learn. I see now that I have shouldered your burdens for too long, and you have stagnated without conflict to strengthen you. Do you think that it's a coincidence that all of a sudden it is no longer the Hokage who picks the heir of his position? Just when a few gifted newcomers begin to show signs that they are capable of leading. You pathetic, miserable children. Madara paces at the forefront of the shrine. Adult Uchiha are seated before him, sweating in the presence of his wrath. None offer so much as a rebuke. Weak, in spirit, and in body. There is not a single Senju like Hashirama. There are no other Senju willing to see past their history with us. They would take us by the hand so that their other would sneak into our pockets. Madara's voice drops in volume. I see now that this is not the village of the Uchiha and Senju, and I foresee that this clan will wither away like embers in the cold. Still, not a single protest. Not one person is willing to entertain the thought that they are truly at risk. They grow fat in complacency. One Uchiha female steps down into the shrine. Madara-sama, Hashirama-sama is here as you requested. He nods stoically to Naori, not letting a woman experience the brutality of his simmering rage. All of you leave. I will be giving you one last warning. One that may even cost me my life. And then you will see that without the tools of fear and power, you will whittle away until it's too late. Now go, and suffer. They scamper away like mice from a cat. Hashirama enters the shrine, clad in robes befitting a Hokage. He looks around with something akin to wonder. Madara, what's this about? Madara turns to the stone tablet. Have you ever heard the history of the Rakudo Sennin? Madara is starting to get used to seeing through one eye. It had been a few months now since he'd used Izanagi to revive himself, and just as long since he'd taken a piece of Hashirama's flesh and implanted it on his heart, through the gaping wound on his chest. It took weeks before he could eat without vomiting up some of it. Maybe that was a side effect of actually being dead. His little hideout had been stocked with salted meats, just in case he couldn't find the strength to hunt. Madara puts on a cloak, hiding his sickly pale skin that seemed to take a slight green tinge in certain light. It would come and go like a bad rash, but he learned not to be too vain about it as soon as he realized just how much sustenance that tiny piece of flesh really offered him. He could go significantly longer without water or food. He also cuts his hair down for the first time, leaving only short spikes of salt and pepper hair. A mask with a single hole over his functioning eye is to keep his face hidden. He hides his chakra with the years of practice he'd gotten in while scheming to fake his death, and moves out into the world to see how every other nation is coping with the new shinobi system, a new era of the hidden village. It turns out, they are not coping at all. Madara's death and Hashirama's condition has evidently made waves across the world, and now everyone seems to think that Konoha will be easy pickings. There is a war on the horizon. Now, instead of a few children dying in conflict against an enemy, it's an entire village's children being led to slaughter. The village system hadn't been a cure, it had been an escalation. The land of rain has become a crucible. Previously ungifted and humble tradesmen and farmers have established their own home and become extremely hardy and resilient. Madara admires that they do not hide their hatred of the world that causes them to suffer behind useless platitudes of peace. Step in their borders and you are free game to them. He travels around under many disguises, but the last place he visits is a coastal city where he meets a woman unlike any other. There's about 10 of these Uzumaki, all armed and ready to prevent any intrusion into their home. Oh heyo! Madara cheers in a high-pitched voice, also in his stupid guise inspired by Hashirama, he likes to think. State your business. The woman orders, short red hair flickering in the wind. She looks quite beautiful with the sun at her back, making her hair appear lighter. I got lost. Madara lies shamelessly. He's barely got chakra at all. A censor among them. How intriguing. I do too have lots of Chitora. This is wartime, stranger. The woman does not indulge his childish persona. Trespassers bring trouble. I won't let you or this idiot persona of yours bring trouble to my clan. Leave or die. How about, you die? Madara picks up some dirt and throws it in her face. She looks apoplectic while she menacingly draws her sword. My name is Uzumaki Haruka. And you have chosen death. Madara deftly cartwheels back to avoid a flurry of swipes from her blade. Immediately, Uzumaki men surround him with swords poised to strike. Whoa whoa whoa, this isn't fair at all. Madara's head flails around, looking at every possible person to see who would attack first. He ducks to avoid a swipe from behind, with sensory prowess that isn't possible for someone of his projected strength. Kidding. Madara punts him, sending him flying a dozen yards. Their little dance continues. Madara doesn't kill any of them, but he doesn't let himself take a hit. It's all too fun just to humiliate them for trying. It's time for the secret art of the counter-attack. Madara leaps and hangs upside down on a tree branch. The battered Uzumaki stiffen in fear. Ninpu. Aramakitokage ninja art. Frilled neck lizard. His cloak falls behind his back while he gives an awkward pose. Madara's fun is ended when an aged voice interrupts before the Uzumaki can try and kill him again. Enough. Of all the people to notice his presence, Uzumaki Ashina orders his kin to stand down. None of you can defeat this man. I cannot defeat this man. He hobbles forward with a cane in hand, beckoning Madara to come down from the tree. Madara does so, wondering if he needs to kill the man to preserve his hidden identity. You are a long way from home, and it seems you've picked up an interesting talent. But you cannot fool my senses. Say it would seem. Madara's voice returns to normal, startling the surrounding shinobi at his baritone. Ashina continues without pause. I imagine your travels have not led you to a warm bed. They have not thus far. But I have greater things on my mind than hearth and home. Madara removes his hood, leaving the top of his graying hair exposed. Come and dine with me. I have lost enough sons to this war, I do not wish to lose any more. Least of all to someone who should be dead. You come as well, my daughter. Yes, Otu-sama. Haruka dips her head. Madara doesn't have any children, but he supposes he gets it. He lost 5 brothers after all. And the rest of the traitors will be dead sooner or later, the Senju will see to that. They walk into their village, built from stone with swirling patterns with the smell and taste of seawater permeating the air. Madara gets curious looks, but no more than a passing gaze while under his mask. Ashina leads them to his very own home where they are greeted by his wife, who Madara sees where Mito and Haruka get their looks from. She is worn from the loss of her children, and it is something that visibly weighs on her. Please, take a seat. My wife will prepare tea. As you wish. Madara remembers his manners for once, and takes off his mask. His Sharingan and pale eyes seem to fascinate the Uzumaki girl. Haruka was it. We will not say a word about your being here, Madara. Ashina says, unprompted. But you appear like an omen. You threw the world into chaos when you fought Hashirama once more. I have not come to cause trouble. Madara replies, despite his antics. You could say that I'm on a pilgrimage, to find meaning in this world that has forsaken my clan. I'm looking for a reason not to turn it on its head once more. This is surprising coming from you. I never took you as a man to stay at his feet and look around. I was younger then, Madara reminisces, driven singularly by fear and hatred. Fear that my family would be extinguished. Hatred at the Senju for facilitating that fear. I tied my existence heavily to that of the Uchiha clan. Never once did I think of what I could be without them. I guess I'm looking for my own meaning. Trying to find out why I struggled to achieve peace. Ashina takes a sip of his tea. I cannot say that I understand your desire to separate from your clan. Perhaps that is a fundamental difference between the Uzumaki and Uchiha. The Uzumaki and Senju, even. Tied to our blood, not our hearts. You are closer than you realize. Madara does not reveal the truth he divined from the stone tablet, but he does acknowledge that the elderly clan head is exceptionally wise for someone lacking actual evidence in the form of a message from the Rakudo. I admit to you, Madara, your appearance here has given me something to consider. A proposal to you. Ashina seems to appreciate his time and would rather get to business. You must have an interesting proposal. What will it offer me? Madara's plan has already been set in motion, he wants for little as it is. Train the young of my clan, and you will be given a home for as long as you need it. We have been far removed from the rest of the world and I'd have liked to have kept it that way, but this era of the hidden village has spurned into motion a great many evil deeds that will consume us as well. My clan have not been warriors for a very long time, and that is something that must change or else we will cease to exist entirely. Madara toils over the offer for weeks before eventually accepting on several conditions. Chiefly among them is absolute control over the students he trains, in addition to secrecy regarding his identity. There is to be no mention of his existence at all to Konoha or the rest of the world by letter correspondence. If anyone asks, the Uzumaki were becoming strong through trial, not teaching. The students and the rest of Uzushio know him only as Izuna. Training young people helps keep his body moving. He could be wasting away in a cave right now, waiting for his eyes to undergo a transformation that may or may not actually happen. Again, he orders an Uzumaki boy, demanding nothing but perfection from this new generation. Sweat cakes down the red hair the boy's face. Other Uzumaki boys are similarly battered, but each one has a will of iron. There was no giving up for them. From Madara's lectures, they understand that everything they know is at risk. Their clan is facing extinction if they do not find their strength. They already have resolve, perhaps that's a blood trait of this clan. The boy is weighed down by sand after Madara had ordered them to swim, then roll around on the beach. He is clearly exhausted but still he persists. The boy unleashes a roar and stomps his feet into the sand. Water molecules begin to whirl around from this sealess jutsu. An upright typhoon forms around him rapidly with more water drawn from the sea. Madara vanishes before their eyes and delivers a hard punch to the boy's stomach. It sends him flying, but still he persists and finishes the jutsu. Sweden. Daibakufu no Jutsu, Great Waterfall Technique. Spurned into violent motion by strong Uzumaki chakra, a veritable tidal wave erupts and swamps the beach. Madara smiles and knows that there are no better students to him than talented people who refuse to give up. 3 years pass. Against his will, Madara finds himself growing fond of these fiery people. And in turn, many of them grow fond of him too. Ashina's daughter Haruka is one person who seems to use all of her spare time to use him and further her own strength. She corners him again while he's stargazing and lays next to him, undoubtedly plotting to ruin his night with another 30 demands to teach her personally. He has his hands full with the boys as it is, and it's not like a woman could compete with them. Why do you want strength? Madara asks after having not done so for the time they'd known each other. To be of service to my clan. Haruka answers, almost in a questioning tone as if to say, isn't it obvious? Most women your age are rearing children and yet, you have no husband nor suitors. Why is a female so resolute about being a warrior? Haruka looks down shamefully. I have nothing else to offer. I do not understand, Madara goes on tactlessly. A woman of your ability, beauty and status would be considered a rare and sought-after spouse anywhere else in the world, why not here? I cannot bear children. That snaps Madara's jaw shut. Or rather, if I have a child then, I will most likely die. Haruka remains seated next to him, looking down at her hands. Before these villages started forming, we were attacked by mercenary clans who were paid to clear us out so that the daimyo who hired them may harvest from our bountiful lands and sea. Father returned the favor, naturally. But it was not without cost to us. I was but a baby when our home was gassed with poison from clans that come from Iwagakure. But you survived. Madara states the obvious, given her being here. Haruka nods slowly at the corner of his eye. You already know that we have strong chakra. But there is only so much that we can heal with something unrefined as generic healing. When I was old enough to understand, Mother and Father told me that my chakra was holding my body together, and should the day come that I have to give it to someone else, I would likely perish to keep them alive. I see. Madara nods thoughtfully. It makes sense now. The dedication to feel that she is needed by her people. Her chakra strength is weaker than other females in the clan, but her explanation makes it clear that most of her chakra is being converted into pure life force. In a dream world, this fiery but earnest woman could have her husband and child. But this is not a dream world. Not yet. His mind also whirls with questions. Is it possible to sustain the life force of another by using one's own? What part did the preservation and facilitation of life hold in the growth of a shinobi, whose trade is death? You do not have children? Haruka asks, dragging him from his thoughts. I never thought about it. Madara replies honestly. Never once did I even entertain the thought. Most women, even in my own clan, were terrified of me anyway. You're not that scary. Madara doesn't reply, and thinks only of how with her persistence, he has fallen under her spell. Madara and Haruka often find excuses to be in the same place at the same time. It is treated with exasperation by the local populace. Two emotionally stunted people not understanding why exactly they enjoy each other's company. He doesn't understand it until Ashina's passing. The man's last words to him are a revelation. Take care of her, Madara. Once red hair is now a stark white. Ashina's croak is weak. You are the best decision I've made. A long wheezy breath. For this village. Madara knows that the man is happy to pass peacefully in his sleep. If only Ashina's sons had been afforded that luxury. I will. Madara promises. Haruka's tear-filled eyes find their way to his chest, and he wraps his arms around her. As someone who loves wood, Hashirama's death from mysterious illness marks the beginning of the First Shinobi World War. It is a short war of only a year, but it costs the life of the freshly appointed Nadaime Hokage. Madara laughs at the news, wishing he'd gutted the fool himself. She is shaking fearfully, not at him, but, I am with child. Haruka is in his arms again. She is afraid of death. Afraid that she will not be the mother she dreamed of being. I will find a way. I always do. Uchiha Madara's will is absolute, after all. Haruka is screaming and crying in agony and her body refuses the command to stay alive. Madara is getting desperate. He places his hands over her heart. In an instant, his salt and pepper hair becomes bone white and he appears to age many years. He pushes as much of his life force into her as he can. Studying the changes to his body with the inclusion of Hashirama's power has led him to believe that it's possible to exchange life force. If it can be taken, then it can be given. And give, he does. Uzumaki Kushina comes into the world kicking and screaming, to proud and very much alive parents, Uzumaki Izuna and Uzumaki Haruka. Her hair is black as midnight, but Madara is quick to seal away any remnant of Uchiha power in her. No one says a word about his now eerie, ringed purple gaze. Kushina, or his, little light, turns 3 quicker than Madara believed was possible. She slams her chubby hands on the table. Baka Hashirama. Haruka rolls her eyes as Madara grins. His wife sways whilst cooking dinner, and Madara catches her before she can stumble. He moves to place his hand over her heart to impart his life force unto her. Don't. Haruka catches it, looking him in the eyes. You can only give me so much time. She's going to need you, Madara. I don't know how I can do that. Madara sighs, knowing that overt displays of protectiveness from him would immediately paint a target on his daughter's back. From the shadows, love. As you have for a great many years now. Mito spends her last days as peacefully as she can, toiling over the fact that she is submitting another person to become an engine of war. The practice of Jinchuriki defies what Hashirama stood for, but survival of the village trumps idealism. The Second World Shinobi War is on the horizon. Punches can no longer be pulled. Tsunade is an unusually curious girl, always looking for answers. The story Mito is telling her in this moment is what inspired Tsunade to become a medical ninjutsu expert of unparalleled ability. If not for the fact that Senju were bred for war, Mito believed that Tsunade could have been another, great mind, of the ages. Hashirama refused to allow anyone to come with him to fight Madara. It is easy to romanticize the idea that comrades standing together will overcome any foe, but Madara. Mito gives a weak and weary sigh through cracked, aging lips. Even Tobirama refused to go anywhere near that battle until it was over. Probably to pick apart Madara's body like a carrion bird. Mito seemed disgusted by the concept and Tobirama's strange propensity for artificially making stronger shinobi, or discovering weakness in those who killed his kin. But still, I went to the battle. The landscape was completely unrecognizable. Shattered pieces of Hashirama's strongest jutsu littered the battlefield. The Kyuubi was in a deep trance, as if it were asleep. I had no idea such a vile beast could look peaceful. What happened then? A younger Tsunade asks curiously. Hashirama and Madara were still fighting. After 4 days, without sleep and without food or water, nothing but the sheer power of their chakra kept them walking. Hashirama was using senjutsu and yet still Madara matched him blow for blow. They were so absorbed in their fight, I doubt they even noticed I was there. I took my chance and sealed the Kyuubi within myself in case Madara figured out how to break Hashirama's hold over it. Mito put a hand over where the seal lay. You were just a baby, our granddaughter who'd been born just 1 week before. I couldn't find it in me to give you this burden. Mito smiles at her slightly. I was quite young when I was wed to Hashirama, and your parents were quite young when you were born. Your grandfather saw this as something so immensely beautiful that he was willing to cut down his closest friend, so that others besides the Senju would experience the joy of creating life without fear, to revel at the gift of parenthood instead of detaching in case our children die. But if Ji-sama won, why did he die? Because he didn't win. He tied with Madara. I stumbled back to the fight with my body heavy with chakra that didn't belong to me. Hashirama killed Madara through trickery, but you can't outfox the fox. Madara used all his strength while dying in the cold river to pull his chained blade into Hashirama's back. Tsunade wisely stays silent at her grandmother's tears and shaky voice. There weren't any jutsu that could heal him, back then at least. Only delay the inevitable. That scythe that nearly took his arm off and had gone right through his lungs. Tobirama tried his best, but in the end Hashirama had not but a few years left. He let Konoha democratically select Tobirama as their new leader, and spent his last years with his family and mentoring the new generation. I wish he'd lived long enough to meet Naoki. He has a similar soul to his grandfather. Mito sniffles, but Tsunade admires how dignified her grandmother still looks. I was too old to seal the Kyuubi within myself. Tobirama figured it out. The best way to seal this beast is within an Uzumaki, but one whose chakra system hasn't fully grown and developed yet. Any other Biju and I would have been fine, but this one is an entity in its own class. And now, it eats away at me from the inside, always clawing and scratching to get out. Uzumaki Kushina will be here soon. I've heard she's something of a little monster herself. Maybe this creature will find its home in her. Tsunade chooses not to broach that topic. Naori-san never mentioned that about Madara. She says instead, of course not. Mito's lips twist in a grimace. Uchiha are all the same. It seems there is still quite a bit of bitterness toward them about the death of her husband. Before becoming the vessel of the Kyuubi, you must be filled with love. Yeah, so when do I get the Kyuubi? The wicked, power-hungry smile on Kushina's face does not ease Mito's heart. I had hoped that Uzushio would send someone more understanding of this burden. Shoulda thought about that before demanding something like a replacement human being from your former clan, Senju bitch. The elderly Mito is struck by the vitriol of her niece. Haruka sends a letter to her beloved daughter that her father had passed when in truth, he was by her bedside as she left the mortal plane. A grand funeral is held for both he and his wife, Uzumaki Izuna and Uzumaki Haruka, to find their peace in the next life. The death of his wife and use of his daughter by Konoha have reawakened a darkness in him that he had thought buried. Madara takes periodic trips throughout the world, testing his Rinnegan in secrecy. The Geto Mazo is proven as a real entity when he summons it from the moon. The strange white organic goblins spawned from the statue are sent to recover any spare Sharingan from the battlefields. While returning from one such trip, he discovers that Uzushiogakure has been massacred by 3 of the great nations. There are few survivors. Most Uzumaki wore Juin that would destroy their bodies before letting them be used by enemies. The Uzumaki were still a small clan and despite their near-overwhelming strength, they could still fall to numbers. The bodies of men that he'd taught since they were boys are scorched and unrecognizable skeletons filling the streets of his proud and cultured home. The few survivors flee to every corner of the world, using the tricks he taught them to stay hidden in the shadows. Madara, even with his lack of mobility in his age, calls upon the power of his legendary eyes to slaughter every last scavenger like the vile pigs they are. Izuna-sama, An Uzumaki woman sobs in relief at his presence, a red-haired babe in her arms as her outsider husband supports them both. This cursed and evil world has decimated these beautiful people. I have a favor to ask of you, dear Fuso. Anything. I am too old for these eyes to be of any use to me now. I want your son to bear them for the sake of our clan. Until I walk the earth again to reclaim them. Madara's cunning smile is hidden as the broken Uchiha boy returns to the graveyard hideout. Tell me about your plan. Obito demands, his bloody visage determined. The Eye of the Moon plan is set into motion once more, and the name Uchiha Madara is passed down to someone young and capable. Black Zetsu is spawned from his will, but only given the absolute critical memories required for the plan to succeed. A sentient clone of himself that could gain self-awareness at any point with his memories would be very bad for Kushina's ongoing existence. He uses his scavenged Sharingan and brings himself back to live out his final days in observation of his daughter. Or at least he had hoped. Kushina's death is his own fault. He caused this. He caused the death of his own daughter to chase a dream instead of fixing reality. He may very well have doomed the world. There is only one hope left. How about we make a deal? If you can master this new exercise before the day is up, I'll come back and teach you a ninjutsu tomorrow. Naruto visibly shakes in excitement. Chapter 12. Misfortune and Goodbyes. Two figures clad in black and red cloaks look upon Konohagakure from under their straw hats. Feeling homesick, the larger of the two asks with a distinct grin. Red eyes savor the view of their owner's home. Not at all. They slowly make their way through the village. Suspicious glances are a bounty. Most likely the result of having been attacked not 6 months ago by enemy nations. For two people to stand out as much as they are right now would be idiotic, least of all for people who are meant to be gathering information in enemy territory. But the Akatsuki is broadcasting a message to the people that they interact with in any capacity. Those who fight them, those who attempt to interrogate, and those who see from the sidelines what they're up to know to spread word of unnaturally powerful shinobi wearing black cloaks decorated with red clouds. We are here. We are strong. Do not defy us. It is a simple message to a world governed by power. Together, the Akatsuki can topple nations. If people like Uchiha Itachi and Hoshigaki Kisame are the ones taking orders, then what does that say of the monsters with the strength to control them? This organization works in the light and dark simultaneously. The goal is the capture and containment of the Biju, but for what purpose Itachi knows not. Akatsuki has been established as a mercenary faction, operating as hired muscle for esteemed and rich clients in secrecy. Some consist of daimyo, others being the greater shinobi villages. Guaranteed success is hiring the Akatsuki, and therein lies the beauty of the manipulation. All they are to the world are mercenaries, hiding their true purpose while gathering intel on the whereabouts of their true goals. This secrecy is a strength of the Akatsuki, but Madara is a fool if he thinks Itachi won't exploit this. Once they are inevitably confronted, Itachi will drop the hints about scouting for Jinchuriki and Biju. Capturing multiple Jinchuriki and Biju and containing them long enough to seal them one by one is simply not possible, not even for the strongest shinobi in the world. Senju Hashirama may have been able to accomplish such a feat, but if Uchiha Madara himself and a man with the legendary Rinnegan still need days, maybe weeks at a time to seal the Biju into the Gedo vessel, then it speaks quite clearly that the process is arduously difficult and requires a large number of powerful shinobi to assist them. Itachi had questioned why Madara didn't just capture them in one fell swoop and keep them contained on his own. My battle with Hashirama left me broken and a shadow of my former ability. The masked man speaks factually and clinically. The sealing will require a great deal of time. Only an incredibly powerful wielder of the Rinnegan or the Mokuden can control that many Biju and Jinchuriki at once, and that time invites the nations that those beasts belong to stop our plans in motion. We do not know where all of the beasts are, nor have we sown enough chaos to make it easier to capture them. The Biju must be sealed in order to prevent the vessel from being damaged. Another weakness of the Gedo Mazo that Madara confirmed carelessly. The Biju must be sealed in order. And that is part of why he and Kisame had been sent to Konoha, to confirm who the Nibi and Kyuubi Jinchuriki are. Word spreading throughout the nation says that Konoha is in control of the Nibi once more, but the Jinchuriki is unknown. Madara suspects that the Kyuubi is sealed in the son of Uzumaki Kushina and Namikaze Minato, and that the cover was that it had been sent away by Kushina-sama's powerful fuinjutsu. It is refreshingly naive that you think your Yondaime defeated me. Madara's voice conveys a smile, even if it is hidden. He may have injured me and caused me to flee to recover, and I suppose that is a testament to his ability. But who walked away from that battle alive, Itachi-kun? The masked man left the battle early, so even he doesn't know where the Kyuubi is. But still. Not Namikaze Naruto. Not Uzumaki Naruto. Uchiha Naruto. How could anyone have missed this? How could Madara attack his own daughter? Although thinking about it, Madara also slaughtered Uchiha children in their sleep a few years prior. That alone speaks of his depravity. Of his own depravity. That he would volunteer to cut down his mother and father. How about some sweet buns, Itachi? Kisame asks as they near a shop, dragging him from his thoughts. Itachi says nothing but enters the quaint little restaurant, the low flaps dragging on his hat. Although he'd like a hearty meal for a change, stores like this are full of people mingling and talking about happenings in their vicinity. A waitress approaches them with a pen and pad in hand, held up above a heavily pregnant belly. "May I get you anything, gentlemen?" The waitress gives them a practiced smile. Kisame spouts off an order on both of their behels, knowing that Itachi isn't fussy. He throws in some tea for good measure. "Your village seems to be in high spirits, young lady." Kisame puts on his best friendly voice. "We were worried when we heard that Konoha had been attacked. We didn't think outsiders would be allowed in at all. Ignoring the fact that they hadn't just been let in. They snuck in like rats in the walls. It was a terrible day," she sighs sadly. "Many lost their lives, but our shinobi are the strongest in the world. Tsunade-sama is working very hard to make sure everything gets back to normal. We've had some bad luck over the last couple of decades." "Oh, that's right. A terrible incident with the Kyuubi happened, right?" Kisame keeps it up. For such a brutish man, Itachi had never suspected he could be so sly. "Yes, apparently the Kyuubi was sealed in a woman before that day, and when it came time for her to give birth, it escaped and tore up our village. I was scared for my life, but apparently Yondaime-sama tried to seal it in his son." Tried. Was it too strong? More like Yondaime-sama's wife was too strong. She didn't like what her husband was going to do, so she kind of poofed it away. Like a shinobi trick. It hasn't come back to haunt us, so I guess whatever she did worked. "That's a relief." Kisame sighs with a fake, unconcerned shrug. "At least I know I'm not gonna be eaten by some giant fox monster today." "Hamari, have the gentleman ordered," a voice from behind the bakery register calls out. Hamari rolls her eyes in exasperation. "Yes, dear. They were just asking about the recent happenings in the village." She turns to them both sheepishly. "I'm sorry, I'll get your order ready right away." Kisame gives her a dismissive wave. "Not a problem, my dear, thank you." The two Akatsuki share a discreet nod, knowing that nothing of actual value was gained from that conversation. It could still be a ploy. The Kyuubi may still be sealed in Uchiha Naruto, but unless they get close to him, they won't be able to tell from his chakra if he's a Jinchuriki or not. Itachi and Kisame sit and eat patiently, silently hoping that the woman will come back with some more recent updates from the village. Sasuke makes his way to see Yuto and Hamari before going home. Jiraiya had been instructing him to never train in the use of the Nibi's chakra unless supervised by him, Naruto, or the strange Anbu that could apparently suppress Biju chakra with the rare Mokuden Kekkei Genkei. Naruto had been badgering him to let him know whenever Tenzo was watching him, most likely to observe the Mokuden in action to unwittingly help him train in it. Sasuke is the only one that knows what Naruto is up to, seeing as he's the only one that knows that Naruto is trying to see if he can build a Mokuden chakra nature using remnants of what is inside of him already. He thinks that Karen might suspect what's going on, although it could just be passed off as another of Naruto's eccentricities that he's suddenly bringing home pots with soil and bulk sachets of plant seeds. He walks under the flaps of the bakery to let his, well, he doesn't know what to call them yet, but he trusts them, and maybe even loves them a little bit. "Yuto, Hamari, I'm home." He pretends not to notice the two strangely dressed, silent customers at their own table for two. "Sasuke." Hamari waddles over to him immediately and snags him in a hug. Out of the corner of his eye, he sees the shorter one stiffen ever so slightly. "How was training? Come, sit down." It was fine. Naruto thinks that my training is going by pretty quick because I'm compatible with Nibi. And besides, he made the seal, so I guess he knows what he's talking about. He hears a rattle and his eyes are drawn to the mysterious duo in the bakery. He sees a blue hand holding a wobbly cup of tea, under a pale and shaky hand that dropped it. Himari seems not to notice it with civilian senses. I suppose. Himari is ever fretful, not understanding shinobi techniques and culture, but always puts first what she can conceivably understand, and that is the safety of those she considers her own. And besides, putting up with the 9 lives and pussy jokes is harder than the training. Nibi is nicer than Naruto is. Himari narrows her eyes when she hears Yuto cough to hide a laugh. Her head cranes around mechanically and Yuto hides his grin quickly. Sasuke-kun, those men. Sasuke's eyes return to the cloaked strangers, only to find that they aren't there at all. There's a small wad of cash to pay for their meal on the table. Strange folk. Yuto comments idly. Get help, now. Naruto grins wickedly. Karen is unimpressed. That's it. In a little pot is a bonsai about the size of her pinky finger. I grew this today. Naruto's Sharingan gleams in pure excitement. It's tiny. Karen shoots him down, or tries to. It's progress. Naruto jumps to his feet. Can't you see? I have the Mokuden. Oni-chan grew a plant. The only person whose opinion matters leaps to his defense. Naruto smirks. Damn right I did. Naruto turns to face his adorable, sweet baby sister. Only to see Kakashi and Shizune standing behind her, gawping. There's an uncomfortable pause while Naruto thinks of some bullshit to wheedle his way out of admitting that he has the Mokuden. Minako ignores this and inspects her Oni-chan's plant. I actually bought it like that. Naruto tries ineffectually. Kakashi's deadpan expression is outlined on his worn mask. I saw you grow it. Just now, and you said that you have the Mokuden. You were all under my genjutsu from the moment you set your eyes on me. No, we aren't. I also heard your careless language in front of my daughter. Shizune gives an equally monotone response. Naruto's eyes narrow. Name your price. Babysitting duty. 2 months. Done. Loud, rushed knocking on the door interrupts their little playful spat. One of Naruto's Kage Bunshin that had been hiding in another room, studying medical ninjutsu, goes to answer it. I still think breathing fire and making a huge skeleton monster is cooler than growing weeds. Karen provides her unfiltered opinion. What if I grew you some flowers? Naruto asks with what he hopes is a convincing, innocent smile. Quote. All right, show me. Kakashi feels like what he's seeing is an eerie recreation of another time. A younger Kakashi watches his recent mentor confront the brutal redhead from Uzu. I've mastered a jutsu that will be instrumental in defeating you. Minato-sensei looks increasingly crazy as each day passes. Kushina-san is unimpressed. Show me. A kunai whizzes past her head at a speed that little Kakashi couldn't even comprehend. Sensei suddenly appears behind her, sweeping her up in a bridal carry. She looks surprised. Her mouth is hanging open ever so slightly, with the tiniest tinge of pink on her cheeks. Before she clobbers him in what outsiders would call a deathmatch. To the people that know them, it's courting. Kakashi snaps out of the memory and observes Naruto. He watches as Naruto place his hands together in a tight cup shape with his fingers pointed forward. Naruto takes a deep breath, looking unusually calm and at peace. His Sharingan rove over everyone in the room, particularly at Karen and Minako. Life. Naruto whispers to himself, finding some meaning in the single word to drive his spiritual chakra forward. Nothing happens at first, but then they watch as tiny roots form between the gaps in his hands and inordinately larger, green stems with buds on the end sprout at the top. The buds begin to bloom, and Kakashi will admit that he finds himself a little struck to be the witness of something delicately beautiful coming from such a violent person. But even when creating life, death is ever present in Naruto's heart and mind. They seem to be balanced. Never was there an Uchiha that could do something like this. Black roses. The symbolism is not lost on him. Karen doesn't seem to understand it, but this time she's actually impressed with the romantic gift, and takes them from his giving hands with a stunning smile. Naruto is delightfully embarrassed. They're so stupid and oblivious. Shizune sighs fondly. Yep. Kakashi smiles. Naruto. Sasuke barges in from the door after apparently being roadblocked by Naruto's clone, which dispels. Kakashi too. Kakashi and Naruto both straighten at Sasuke's serious tone. The Nibi told me that these two foreign shinobi are really powerful. They're skulking around the village right now, we need to find them. Powerful foreign shinobi seems to be an ongoing issue with Konoha as of present. She says that one of them has as much chakra as you do, Naruto. That can't be right. Kakashi is not inexperienced with the unexpected, but Naruto has more chakra than anyone in Konoha. Naruto stands up with crimson eyes glimmering ominously. Maybe we should investigate. Itachi takes control of the administrator girl using his Sharingan. He forces her to use the intercom to speak directly with Tsunade. Tsunade-sama, Uchiha Itachi is here to see you. She speaks as if it's an everyday occurrence. Guard the door. I'll get information about the Jinchuriki myself. Itachi orders Kisame. Heh, you're pretty confident, Itachi-san. Kisame chuckles. His rage is simmering. He can feel it in his eyes. Itachi doesn't let it show on his outside persona, and perhaps he's allowing his emotions to control him like so many in his clan before him. Sasuke is the Jinchuriki of the Nibi. He opens the door, coming face to face with Tsunade and her elderly advisors. There is clear and blatant fear on the faces of the advisors, and Tsunade is tense, knowing that if it truly came to it then she would not be able to defeat him alone. And then he slams the door shut behind him. Why is my brother a Jinchuriki? The terse demand that is hardly a question spurs Tsunade to provide a quick response. Sasuke willingly became the Jinchuriki after the Nibi was used to assault Konoha. Tsunade answers, and there is something very careful about her words that Itachi does not agree with. Do you understand how much this compromises my mission? Itachi narrows his burning eyes. I will do anything to protect him, but even I cannot protect him from the Akatsuki leaders. Both of which are stronger than I. At which point did you think it would be acceptable to make my brother a Jinchuriki when the most powerful criminal organization in history is hunting the Biju? Tsunade's hands clench tighter together. It was not by choice. Sasuke was the only person in the vicinity that could safely contain it during the invasion. The person that sealed it couldn't seal it in themselves, so they took the next best option, which Sasuke volunteered to do. Regardless of your love for your brother, Konoha has not stopped moving forward in time since you left. The life of a shinobi is tumultuous, you know this better than anyone. Itachi takes note of the deliberate way she doesn't include the sealer's gender, but it matters little given what he learned at the bakery earlier. Uchiha Naruto. Perhaps I should have a word with him. Her eyes narrow. You'll regret that wish. There is a bright flash of blue light outside the Hokage's office window. A massive construct with glowing yellow eyes moves its arm and a punch is rapidly approaching the glass panes, making the light blue glow unbearable to look at. Kisame bursts through the door. Itachi-san. Itachi morphs his Sharingan into their Mangekyo state and yellow chakra rushes up around him. Tsunade grabs her two advisors by their robes and leaps out one of the windows, smashing her head through the glass without injury. There is only a second before collision. Naruto, Sasuke and Kakashi leap at incredible speed across the rooftops to the location of the powerful shinobi. The Nibi points Sasuke in the general direction, leading Naruto to sense more precisely where they are. The Hokage Tower. Naruto speaks aloud over the rushing wind. Nibi is right, one of them has a sweet affinity with enormous chakra. The other. He cuts himself off with a clenched jaw. Naruto. Kakashi's tone is short and clipped, wanting to know about the other intruder. The other one is an Uchiha with the Mangekyo Sharingan. Sasuke falters, Sharingan whirling into life in response to negative emotions. Itachi. He breathes. They had been that close to his family. Both of you get close to me. Naruto orders, not giving Sasuke any time to think. His eyes transform into their Mangekyo state. Susanoo. They quickly become nestled in the stomach of the imperfect Susanoo. It tramples through the streets as everyone leaps out of the way. Shinobi quickly fall in line and follow Naruto's creation, knowing that this is too serious not to drop everything. Naruto makes his approach, sensing the precise location of his target in Tsunade's office and knows he needs to make a decisive move to protect the Hokage. The fist of his Susanoo launches through the windows and collides with something that doesn't budge an inch. His eyes widen. What in the hell could stop his Susanoo? Naruto focuses his Sharingan, seeing the bright yellow chakra blocking his punch with a massive shield. I see, he mutters aloud. Itachi's Susanoo ability must stop all frontal damage. He wonders how much it can withstand before breaking. The two rogue nin make several synchronized leaps to the Hokage mountain, running east on it to make a quick escape. Yasaka no Magatama. Naruto summons 3 Magatama in each palm of his Susanoo, sending them flying erratically at each side of Itachi to prevent all of them from being blocked. Sasuke's sclerae changed to the Nibis, creating his own jutsu with its chakra. Kaden. Kasha Hosenka. Kasha Phoenix Sage Fire Blue, almost decorative flames flurry out of the Susanoo in a combined assault. The blue shark man weaves his way through several signs before spitting out a veritable tsunami. Sweden. Dai Bakusui Shoha. Great exploding water colliding wave. The colossal tidal wave absorbs all of the force from Naruto's Magatama, stopping them in the waterfall that's now tipping into the village. Sasuke's fireballs fizzle out despite the Biju chakra. With the villagers now at risk to the rushing waters, Naruto is forced to abandon his pursuit of the criminals and join the efforts to contain the water. The water descends rapidly over the academy, and Naruto wills his Susanoo to drop Kakashi and Sasuke down. He rushes and stands over the academy and hears the panicked screaming from the children. About a dozen of the shinobi that followed him to the Hokage tower all slam their hands on the Hokage mountain in unison. Doden. Doryuaheki. Earth-style wall. Walls sprout out of the mountain, forming a bowl of earth over the academy and the water crashes into it. Naruto knows that it won't hold long enough to save the students and teachers and makes his Susanoo squat under the bowl, holding it up with its back and arms. The pressure of the lake and stone strains him as he struggles to maintain form. The knees of his Susanoo buckle. He really only has one option left. Naruto has never tried before, but lives are on the line. Tsunade barks orders at the Doden shinobi, telling them to make an aqueduct as soon as possible. She doesn't know how long Naruto can hold up a lake on his own, so she seeks to drain the water to the border of the village and evacuate the academy and surrounding area. She watches as Naruto falters under the strain before a massive upswing of chakra hits the senses of every sensor type in the entire village. The light blue Susanoo glows even brighter. Plates move along its skin as it grows larger and larger. A hood shaped like a dragon swallows the head of the construct and transforms it into something distinctly different to before, menacing gold chakra in its fiery mouth under a long demonic nose. The bald being grows swaying hair with twin locks on either side clasped by bands. And then a pair of majestic wings unfurl, spreading wide and holding up the lake on their own. Naruto's Susanoo settles into a kneel and is now unfazed by the immense weight on its back. In the jewel on its forehead, Naruto resides patiently. At first. Then he becomes less enthused. If you don't mind, I have places to be fools. Get this damn lake off of me. A day passes from the utter chaos of another attack on Konoha. Naruto is present in the meeting room of the Hokage tower while repairs are made to Tsunade's office. Jiraiya has returned after mingling with some of his sources one town over to see if Itachi and Kisame had been present at all. Kakashi, Sasuke, the Shinobi Council and Elder Advisors are all congregated in the same place. The Godime brings everyone's attention to her. The Akatsuki is our discussion point today. We have managed to confirm that this criminal organization almost exclusively consists of S-rank shinobi, and that their goal is the capture of Jinchuriki and Biju. The two confirmed members are Hoshigaki Kisame, one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the Mist, and Uchiha Itachi from our own village. We don't have an accurate time frame for when they actually start hunting the Biju. Shikaku speaks up, giving his opinion on the situation. All we know is that this was a scouting mission to confirm who the Jinchuriki of the Nibi is, and if we had any other Jinchuriki in our possession. Sasuke nearly sneers at the word possession. Naruto openly gives his own statement. We can no longer retaliate against Kumogakure and Orochimaru. The chaos of war will make it far easier for the Akatsuki to mobilize and capture the Jinchuriki. Current grudges need to be settled unless it provides a pathway to intel about the members of this organization. The more Biju they capture, the more powerful they become. Theoretically, Sasuke is no longer safe in Konoha. Jiraiya states, he needs to be taken away in case more members of the Akatsuki come to capture him. He'll need to be on the move until we get an estimation of when they'll start their operation. Absolutely not. Kaharu objects. Sasuke must stay in Konoha where he has the support of the village to defend him. Homura continues. Keeping Sasuke here is inviting more chaos. The ease at which they nearly killed the academy students is proof of that alone. If they bring even more members with destructive abilities, there won't be any shinobi that can defend him, least of all against Itachi, who may be stronger than our Hokage. Naruto refutes stoically. The passphrase to the detection barrier around Konoha will also need to be updated. Tsunade sighs, rubbing her forehead before looking at Sasuke. What do you think of this? Sasuke doesn't want to leave. He doesn't want to go right before his honorary family has their first child, but he doesn't want them to be used against him if he stays. Sasuke trails, unsure of what to say. I'll take him. Jiraiya offers. I can keep an eye on the seal and train him in the use of the Nibi's chakra on the road while we gather information about the Akatsuki. Do you agree with this, Sasuke? Tsunade asks tiredly. There's a brief pause before his hesitant response. Yes, I agree. Jiraiya puts a hand on his shoulder. Come on, kid. Say goodbye to everyone because we need to go as soon as possible. The sage ruffles Naruto's hair. Good luck, kiddo. I'll see you when I see you. You too, old man. Naruto turns to Sasuke, putting out his arm. Sasuke clasps him by the forearm, looking disappointed at the result of this meeting. I'll see you, Naruto. Yeah, Sasuke. I wish things hadn't turned out like this. You were starting to become bearable. Likeable even. Sasuke smiles wryly. I wish I could say that you're bearable. He says, to which Naruto smirks. I hope you kick yourself in the balls on the way out the village. Naruto bids him farewell. Kakashi gets his word in before they go. I'm proud of you, Sasuke, more than you realize. I hope your journey is safe. Thanks, Kakashi-sensei. Sasuke grabs him by the arm as well, not knowing how to state just how important Kakashi has been to him over the past year. Sasuke and Jiraiya leave, and it's back to business in the meeting room. I'm going to request time away from the village as well. Naruto begins. My destructive power cannot be practiced or refined here. I need space to prevent anyone from being at risk. Because of your Susanoo, Tsunade cuts in before her advisors can shoot it down. But also because of this. Naruto weaves a snake seal. There is only a brief pause before a tiny tree with black leaves grows on the end of the round meeting desk. Gasps echo in the hall. Tsunade gapes, and not one person mentions her emotional visage. Sasuke's throat is tight when he visits Himari and Yuto. Sasuke, Himari asks softly, I've come to say goodbye. His voice gets hoarse. They're a group of powerful criminals who want the Nibi inside of me, and I need to leave the village for a while to keep everyone safe. Oh honey. He breaks down against his will. Sasuke spends the last of his time in Konoha with his family. Karen, we're going on vacation. Sweet. Let me pack my stuff. I need to say goodbye to my baby sister anyway. This is it, huh? Sakura tears up. Team 7 is assembled at the main gate of Konoha. Naruto is cuddling Minako, but when she proves inconsolable, he manages to pass her back to her glistening-eyed mother. Don't worry, Sakura. Naruto gives her that ever-cocky smile. We'll be together again. This is just the life of a shinobi in our age. We do what we have to. I know. She wraps her arms around her beloved teammates. You two better not forget about me. Never. Sakura. Naruto and Sasuke speak in unison. See ya, Sakura. Karen bids her goodbye as well. Bye, Karen. Take care of this reckless dummy for me, will you? Naruto rolls his eyes as Karen nods solemnly. They all turn and leave. Naruto and Karen split at the road, and give one last wave to Sasuke and Jiraiya. A week passes and Naruto uses the fist of his Susanoo to smash through an inconspicuous area in a vast field with tall grass. He and Karen drop down into a small stone lair. Naruto pushes open the crypt in the middle of the room and takes an object out of it. Uchiha Madara's gunbai blasts the dust out of the tomb. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to like, comment and subscribe, as well as checking out the author on fanfiction.net.